And so we return to Skymetal, Iron Gods. The party, the Torchlighters, have arrived at Scrapwall, following a lead from beneath Torch, having encountered Mayenda, a Lord of Rust. There are many other Lords of Rust, all beholden to the demon tyrant named Hellion, who lairs underground beneath Scrapwall. You've come here to Scrapwall to eradicate the threat, Hellion, for he poses a great danger over the barbarian lands of Numeria. Here, you have found allies in the Shadow Den, a mishmash of characters trying their best to free Scrapwall from the Lords of Rust and the Hellionite influence. You've done a few things for them so far to help them in their shadow war against Hellion, returning the Rust monster eggs to safety below the town of Scrapwall, and exploring the haunted wreck at the behest of a certain artificer by the name of Bree Kite, who claims that because this place is unplumbed yet, haunted by ghosts and apparitions, surely it will contain something useful, something connected to the great project that Hellion has, that he's excavating at the center of Scrapwall. And so here you've come to the haunted wreckage on the outskirts of town. You've fought ghosts, apparitions, the risen dead themselves, all vestiges of an age long past. In this final chamber, you were face to face with a wraith that wielded a powerful pistol that was able to, when shot, sap your life forces. Upon the defeat of this wraith captain, ectoplasmic energy shuddered through the electronic systems of this strange complex, lighting up one of the strange black glass terminal screens and displaying what could only be described with our modern words as a video recording that said the following. Captain's log. This is Captain Yurian Valenko of the terraforming module Chrysalis, formerly of the Divinity. At 0400 shipboard time, the Divinity came under attack by an ambush force from the Dominion of Black, an extragalactic hostile alliance of psionically active organisms. In an effort to escape, the Divinity executed an emergency blind warp into what appears to be a completely uncharted star system. However, a contingent of the enemy forces successfully translocated with us and breached our defenses. Their presence immediately compromised shipboard security and initiated widespread psychological degradation among the crew. Attempts to contain the threat failed. the enemy psionic assault escalated, overwhelming standard countermeasures. Within hours, mass hysteria, hallucinations, and neural collapse spread through the ranks. Unity, the ship's AI, was not immune. She changed. What she became, I don't know, but she wasn't ours anymore. In the chaos, I secured the inhibitor facet, our only means of shutting her down, but I couldn't get to her core in time. With the ship lost, I gathered the few remaining survivors and initiated an emergency separation of the Chrysalis module. We are now descending towards an uncharted planet, attempting a landing with minimal thruster control. The planet's atmosphere is registering within survivable parameters, but I don't trust anything I see anymore. Without AI control, the prospects of a safe landing are minimal. I don't know what's waiting for us down there. I don't even know if we got away from the Dominion. I'm boarding the launch now. I will append further reports after we land, if we land, end log. And with that, the staticky face of a strangely normal-looking human man disappears from that black glass screen. He spoke in a language that none of you understood except for the small mouse Veris, who is currently under the effects of a comprehend languages spell. So Veris, you heard this alien tongue spoken aloud, and those were the words that you understood him to say. The others, however, heard only gibberish. As the dust settles, you see what can only be described as a cabin with these black glass terminals, and slumped in the chair farthest from you, along the western wall, is a man in a strange set of light, loose armor. Eerily resembles the same ghostly wraith apparition that attacked you here. Wearing this armor that is bulky and red in color. A bright red, though covered in dust. You can see his bones, hand bones, his skull, as he is slumped over upon the desk. What is it now that you do, now that the combat has ended? With these words, alien in source, echoing through this derelict chamber.
Veris is going to do his best to kind of relay this information to the others.
Daeralei tries their best to not react, or at least not show their reaction when you mention something about the ship AI and Unity and being changed. Daeralei is trying very hard to be normal at that.
I don't understand. What is this AI? Is this a god of some sort? Were you able to understand more than just the words, Veris?
Veris puts his little paws on his hips, and he's like, well, just a minute. It takes a lot of effort to understand what is being said, the vernacular, the sentence structure. I understood. And then he pauses and he's like, no, I didn't understand most of what was said there. He looks to Daeralei.
I mean, don't look at me. I couldn't understand a word it said. Yeah, just getting it from you.
I don't know if there's any connection, but I don't know if you noticed or not, but those things were basically ghosts that we were fighting. Right?
They thought that we were some type of outsider.
Well,
Yeah, Veris, you recall them calling you agents of the Dominion of Black when they were fighting you.
Mm-hmm.
My point.
Especially, they singled out Daeralei in their assault until she was downed, until they turned to the rest of you.
My point, and I walk over to where the to the I guess it was in this main chair here where the red armored fellow was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I kind of put my hand on the shoulder of this armor. This is red. And those were ghosts. That's one of the Lords of Rust. Maybe there's no connection here, but maybe we've just gotten a glimpse of what this red ghost Lord of Rust is capable of. And then I guess I'm going to poke around a little bit. I don't think we really had a chance to explore in this area, did we?
Yeah, you haven't yet. As you set your hand down on the slumped form of the red spacesuit armor of this skeleton, and it kind of begins to crumble and collapse under that slightest disturbance. The skull kind of topples off of what precarious balance it has and rattles and rolling onto the desk and off of it and falling to the ground and breaking. Part of the shoulder comes loose and it'll kind of slumps into a heap of dust. And in doing so, one of the hands drops, no longer seized by time, the pistol that the ghost was wielding against you. It clatters to the ground. Dunk, 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 dunk. It seems completely undamaged, though time worn.
I'll pick it up. Take a look at it. And then I will hold it out for I'll probably hold it out to Veris.
Yeah, Veris will go follow you and have a look.
I'm just gonna hand this pistol thing to you. I don't understand these strange weapons.
He's gonna have a closer look at it.
Yeah, you can.
I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say. It seems these kind of weapons seem to fit you with your chest-like backpack that you wear. And I knew of a dwarf once that wore a backpack that was actually a wooden chest and carried guns. Though these are something far more than what he was capable of.
And with that, Veris takes the level of gunslinger. So Veris, in your hands, this pistol is you've probably seen in your travels the designs from the far south of flintlocks or something. The idea of a flintlock is probably not lost on you, but this is not a flintlock that Yrsimagor was describing. This is something far more advanced, alien. It's made of a metal that is Skymetal that cannot be forged in any way beyond the fires of Torch. And it's molded so perfectly with such a precise hand to make this kind of strange ray blaster shape, his ray gun with these silly circles and protrusions and whatnot. But its usage, you imagine, is pretty simple. Point, and pull the trigger.
Are there any kind of like inscriptions on it at all? Like anything?
You would see a embossment on it, in which this is described to be like I want to say like a badge of honor. Like this is an honorific gun given to Captain Yurian Valenko as a reward for his great service for aboard the Divinity. You see that it's similar to like I guess like a military like badge of honor in that sense upon the actual sidearm itself, but it otherwise has no other engravings on it.
Yeah, he's going to put it in his box that he has on his back, or his shelf. Yes, thank you, Yrsimagor. I should probably keep this for safekeeping. As he kind of tucks it away beside his other gun that he has.
Anyone else that wants to peruse the room and try to search for things can make me investigation or perception rolls.
I got an 18 for investigation.
Okay.
I got 16 for perception.
3 perception.
All right. So, Veris, you notice that the red bulky armor that this skeleton was wearing has many pockets, and in those pockets are many goodies. You pull out, notably, from these pockets, 2 items of note, one of which is a key card that you have seen used before in Below Torch. This one is a different color. This one is gray. As well as you find in the other pocket of this skeleton is I will only be able to describe it as a large USB drive shaped object. It's like in your hands, it probably like, it's probably about the size of a cell phone kind of object. And you see that there's like a little like manual switch on the side that ejects out like some strange prongs that then retract. And you, Daeralei, you see that there is something that glints using your super dark vision inside the shattered skull of the man. Something glints inside. It is something metal, and something Skymetal and technological that sits now behind the what they call it, the orbit of the eye in the skull.
I have no problem touching this dead man's skull and digging around inside of it. I would like to find out what that shiny bit is.
You go and you pick up the skull and you tip the broken skull bit over and grab this small device. It is small. It is studded with strange, like, I don't want to say symbols, but bits to it. It's got wires to it. And as you hold it in your hand and as you look on it, there's a feeling of recognition, and you get a massive headache in the top center of your head.
I think with the what I've been through this time, and having been almost dead like 2 or 3 times in a matter of 2 minutes, I'm a little traumatized, and I think I would lean against one of the chairs. I'm going to imagine like the head had kind of rolled a little bit, so I may not be at that main chair, but
yeah,
that one of the side chairs. I guess I should put myself in there. So I think I maybe like almost collapse with this headache, and I will like collapse upon the chair. Maybe still clutching the skull, but also whatever this thing is that I kind of recognize somewhat.
Otherwise, to the both of you, the red armor that this man wears seems to be pretty dang intact. And it's extremely strange, and at the very least, it's a curiosity. It seemed to be made of a material that none of you recognize. It's like lighter than any kind of leather you've seen, stiffer. It's bulky. You imagine if you wore this, not even a dragon's flaming hot breath could hurt you.
That seems useful. It's bulky though, right? Like...
It's super bulky, yes. So statistically speaking, if you wear this, you'll not be able to add any of your dexterity modifier to your AC. But it will provide its own AC value and an added benefit of being resistant to most types of elemental attacks. Things like cold, lightning, fire, etc. And then looking back, behind you is where the skeletal remains that kind of fell to dust of those, like the masses of like melee skeletons that were harassing you all from behind. They've all collapsed to the ground in dust, but their armor is intact as well. And it seems to be a similar kind of armor as this red armor, but it is gray instead. With the helmets also, with the glass of the helmet shattered.
Is the red armor such that it needs to be identified to know what its properties are?
Yes, using the identify technological item optional rule that I have somewhere. Yes.
It's going to be hard pressed to find armor that gives me a better benefit than my own thick skin. But you never know when you find that you get that legendary drop.
Yeah, you have to make intelligence rolls to deduce the purpose of alien technology.
Can we take a moment to do that right now?
Absolutely.
I feel like we need to take a moment to rest up a bit anyway.
Absolutely. You could take a short rest in here, and during that short rest, each of you, if you wish, can make an intelligence roll to try and deduce the aspect of one of these items that you have inquired.
Just straight intelligence then?
Yes, because there is no skill, unfortunately, in this world that will apply.
15.
Not yet, at least. Maybe in the future.
I got higher than both Daeralei and Veris.
I have a +0 on intelligence.
I also have a +0, so I got a straight roll of 15.
I have a +3. I got a 14.
I also got a 14.
I chalk it up to the fact that it's armor.
Right. Exactly.
And
yes.
I may not know much, but I know offensive and defensive equipment.
All right, perfect. So Yrsimagor, you're looking at the armor, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then Daeralei, what are you looking at?
I was also looking at the armor.
Okay. And Veris, what are you looking
at? The gun.
Okay, perfect. So both of you looking at the armor will realize that this is a bulky armor that will provide the same benefit as like leather armor, like a +1 bonus, with the unfortunate downside of not being able to use much of your dex. Like you won't be able to use any of your dexterity mods. So it's like +1 AC bonus, max dex +0. However, there's actually a toggle in it. Not only does the the surface of the material make you resistant to fire, lightning, cold, and let me look at my damage types here. Make sure I'm not missing one. Fire, lightning, cold, radiant thunder. Those type makes you radiant to those. And if you use a bonus action and energy cells to power it, it projects a force field that makes you now immune to those damage types. It uses up 1 energy cell every minute of use this way. I'll put its resistance in. So it's acid, cold, fire, lightning, radiant, thunder are the 6 damage types that it resists and becomes immune to. That is the suit.
So I will take the armor and basically stack it, I guess, sort of tying it together and tying the pieces to the pack. Unless one of the two of you want to actually wear it, I feel like for Veris it probably has to be modified. But this would dramatically reduce my AC. But I can see us getting into situations where being able to have limited immunity to these type of elements could be very beneficial. Vi, can you eventually put that information about this in the Discord?
Absolutely. I'll make a note of it.
I'm just gonna annotate red armor.
Put red armor.
I'll modify. I'll add a leather armor and customize it.
Yep.
So on that note, the gray suits, knowing what the red suit kind of does the gray suits do something similar?
The gray suits have the basal effect, but do not have any kind of powered effect. But they're bulky, and they provide a blanket, mundane resistance to those 6 damage types. But you can't find a way to power them on, unlike this captain's suit. And Veris, you're looking over this pistol, and maybe you even go to another room and fire a test shot to help figure out what it does. So this, like your other pistol, is a ranged weapon that consumes energy cells for each shot. However, it seems that the shot not only shoots out this strange static lightning charge, but it gives off a strange smell that makes your own mind kind of reel in places as well. This pistol does 1d8 lightning and 1d8 psychic damage, and is a +1. No, sorry, not +1. It's mundane. It would be a pistol that deals 1d8 lightning, 1d8 psychic.
Sorry, so a normal pistol is just, we had it as a 1d10. So it.
Yeah. So instead of doing 1d10,
yeah,
it does
1d8.
1d8 lightning, 1d8 psychic.
Oh wow. Okay.
And on a critical hit, it causes the stunned condition for 1 turn. You feel like you want to give the name the Mind Burner pistol. That's what it feels like it does to your mind, from the chemical reactions in the air that it does upon each shot that waft up into your keen nose that cause a burning sensation in your mind. And Jake, yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
round down. Always round down. And so with that, with your rest come to an end after a brief moment of checking over these new gadgets, and you can't really imagine, you look around, you can't really imagine anywhere else to go in this wreckage. You've explored the last chamber of this place, other than the collapsed walls that they seem lost to time.
Well, this seems like another task completed.
Don't think we found anything really here to help us against the lords like that woman was hoping. But
Did we search all the other rooms?
Yes.
I was gonna say, I felt like we did.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
so maybe we go back and reconvene and see if they've managed to accomplish anything while we've been gone.
Sounds like a good idea.
And so the group leaves this haunted wreck behind, returning once more to Scrapwall.
I'm going to carry one of those bulky gray suits, like
okay,
just cause.
Perfect.
What was the name of
And
that organization that was mentioned when Veris translated? The Dominion of Black?
Dominion of Black. Dominion
Okay.
of Black, yes, is what attacked the chrysalis. And so you return topside. The mists of this wreckage site seem to have dissipated since your time down here. Whatever uneasy spirits have now been dissipated. By your actions, perhaps. You make your way through the town of Scrapwall. You pass by the dig site on your way, where untold amounts of laborers, coerced or otherwise, try their best to unearth the mounds of the giant hillside that lies at the center of at the center of Scrapwall. There they are watched over by Helionite guards who urge them to continue working, to continue digging. There are many camps, many barracks for them to rest in. You continue further, returning to the Shadow Den. You make your way past the spires, the locations of many of the more affluent members of the gangs of Scrapwall. You make your way through the outskirts of Newtown, where peddlers try to catch you unawares and try to sell you something that you definitely do not need. And you make your way through the hidden alley that leads to the Shadow Den. And inside the Shadow Den, after you do your passcode on the door, it opens for you. And inside you can see the stairs that go down into the darkness. And when you go down those stairs, a familiar face greets the three of you. She is golden yellow in color. She is sniffing at what is in your hands and at your feet. There is Donut there. She seems still a bit weakened, still a bit infirm. She walks still with a limp, but she seems happy to see you. And she brushes up against Yrsimagor, rubbing herself against your leg. She looks up at you and chirps, then heads off. And you can see where she heads off to. Yrsimagor, Veris, you see your father, Whiskafus, in conversation. A conversation that you cannot overhear at this point, with the artificer Bree Kite, off in one corner, sitting at 2 chairs in one of the corners of this Shadow Den, illuminated by a candle that smokes thick and rises to the air. There is Sevroth Slade, the one-armed barbarian woman warrior. There is Redtooth, the rat folk. And there is, lastly, the Hatchet. The three of them, again, stand over that table with the notes and dossiers and a dagger and a map. Redtooth, of course, has the company of a small rust monster nymph that is scuttling, a little small juvenile rust monster that is scuttling over his shoulders and down his arm, but seems very, very hesitant to ever go below shoulder height, seeing as there is a golden ermeline, the Orumvarax, wandering about this place. Your entrance is noted by all 5 of these people. The warmest welcome you get is from Whiskafus, of course, who lights up as best as an old ratfolk can upon seeing his son Veris, upon seeing you. Sevroth looks to the 3 of you. What news do you bring us?
We've slain the ghost of the wreckage.
And Bree, immediately, not really giving the 3 of you too much attention, in the back corner, immediately looks over and this catches her attention. And so you visited the wreckage. What did you find there?
Wreckage.
Are my theories true?
We found wreckage.
And I will gracefully dump and make the loudest sound of the gray suit that I'm carrying. And that.
I found a red one.
This is intriguing. They're in such pristine condition, she says as she's like, walks over and bends down to lift one up and kind of gawks at how bulky they are and like holding it up into the candlelight. Anything else did you find? I mean, this is an amazing discovery, but simply more of a scholarly one or an academic one than useful, I'd say.
I don't know, it can protect you from the elements. And
I've never seen an intact one. These are scatter suits worn by the old peoples that inhabited those strange complexes of Skymetal below the earth. This is of their designs.
a scatter suit.
Yes.
Is that their name, or is that what you named it?
That's what I've named it. Well, me and my peers. I, of course, wasn't the one to discover them, but this is a scatter suit nonetheless. A material impervious to all the elements, and quite resistant even to blades.
It might be of use.
So you're telling me your hands are empty? That's unfortunate.
There wasn't a lot in that place. It was aptly named the wreckage.
What about the gibberish that man in the glass said?
Man in glass? Gibberish? Did you get a recording in Androphen play back to you?
I don't understand those words.
Androphen, sorry, it's what we call the ancient language. That those early people spoke. It's a language completely untraceable to any known dialect today. It shares no roots at all, linguistically speaking, with any common tongue and anywhere around the world of Galarian.
Veris here was able to understand it.
Good. What were you able to scribe it down? Transcribe? What did the recording say?
I think absolutely Veris would have written it down because that feels like a very Veris thing to do. So he would kind of procure his writings and show them.
And
I can absolutely see during our short rest that Veris was just sitting there, like, rewind, write something down, rewind, play, rewind.
Oh, yeah.
It's fascinating. This is a first-hand source of the Androphen people. A lot of these words are, well, it seems to be some kind of untranslatable jargon. It speaks here of an inhibitor facet. Did you find anything like that? I imagine if something like that were able to be used on, well, the war machine Hellion is trying to unearth, that could cause quite a wrench in his plans.
I mean, I don't even know what an inhibitor facet is to know if we saw one or not.
Well, it would be a device that would plug into a central system. It would look like a very strange shaped object. Longer, would probably have prongs in some kind of arrangement. No?
Like a fork?
Kind of, yes. Like not only
I've
3
muted.
tines or 4 tines, but it would be a particular arrangement of prongs.
Veris is going to pull out that USB thing, the pronged thing that he pulled out, along with the gray disc.
And she looks at it, and her face drops. Was there anything else of use that you found in the wreckage? Here, hand that over. I can't believe you'd look something over like this.
What do you mean? We brought it, didn't we?
We certainly didn't look it over. We were keeping it for further inspection.
Just because we didn't know it was called an appanappanopper. Or whatever you said it was.
And she reaches out her hand to grab. I think she probably just snatches it from you, Veris. Just plucks it out of your hands and holds it up to the light. And oh well, this is something, isn't it? And she like shinks the prongs out. Well, if what that Androphen man said is true, and this is the inhibitor facet, oh, I could use this. We could use this. Disrupt Hellion's war machine. Whatever this does, if it can shut down an AI, it can shut down anything, she says.
What exactly is an AI?
I'm not too sure. I think it might be the word that the Androthan people use for their pantheon, which confuses me because they call the great complex that they lived in the divinity. Do they think of themselves as demigods, perhaps? I'm not sure.
And what you're saying, this alabaster
Inhibitor facet, yes.
Inhibitor facet can kill a god. And you're just holding it around like that. Just up in the air.
I don't know. What I do know is this is of the same make as the war machine that Hellion is trying to unearth below our very feet here in Scrapwall. And this is the key to its ruin.
Or it's the key to make it go.
Well, inhibiting something is to stop it from happening,
but you
kickstart it.
Do you know that is an inhibitor? Or are you just guessing? Because from where I'm standing, and she's kind of like, backing up every time this woman is like waving this thing around.
You're familiar with spell scrolls, yes?
No.
Well, Androphans, they appear to have some kind of means similar to scribing spell scrolls, where they could inscribe within the interior of Skymetal objects, effects that could be produced by
I guess
combining them with other Skymetal artifacts.
I guess my point is, if that is a scroll, as you would say, do you even know if it says sleep or slow or fireball? Like, do you even know what it does? You're just assuming.
Of course, we'll double check this before we plan to use it. But this, if it really is an inhibitor facet,
and if it isn't,
this will be so important. If it is not, then that facet that Androthan man secured, it will have been lost time then, unless there's anything else that you found. But this is what it would look like.
I am going to say no to her. I'm actively going to deceive this woman.
Roll deception, please.
Oh, that's a 22.
Right, then she kind of backs off of your aggression. She doesn't understand why you're so disgruntled with her. I will look this over and double check my work.
This is all I'm asking you to do. And you should say sorry to Veris.
And why would I do that? Have I hurt you, Veris?
Well, it very much depends on your definition of hurt. He says, like, very sulkily.
And she looks to Whiskafist, going like, "Oh, what did I do?" And Whiskafist gives a little tip of the snout, and Veris, I apologize for any harm I may have done.
Veris sniffs, and you see he twitches his whiskers. It is fine. I understand that the pursuit of knowledge is, it gets very overwhelming sometimes, and so sometimes we act in a way that is not becoming of ourselves.
I see. Well, I will be leaving you all to it then, she says as she holds the inhibitor facet in her hands and strides off, probably with like one of the scatter suits, like bundled, with one of the scatter suits bundled underneath her arm. Goes over to the chair that she was sitting at, like grabs her things and goes off into a side room. Sevroth then says to the group of you, the one-armed, buzz-headed barbarian woman, "You all done fighting? We have reports in your absence." And she like beckons you over with her one good arm to look at the notes and diagrams upon the table. She folds her arm over, leaning over, looking at the map. Mayenda's absence continues to reshape all of the power structures of the Lords of Rust. There is a power vacuum. She was once Hellion's favored, a true zealot, but she's been gone some time now. Some say Torch, where she went to, swallowed her whole. But anyways, in the vacuum that she left behind, Kulgara, the Lord of Rust, has moved fast to claim her seat. There's no room for ghosts in the Lord of Rust, only blood and dominance. Keep your ears sharp. When that pecking order shifts, the walls here tremble. Redtooth speaks up. He clicks his tongue and absent-mindedly pets the carapace of his rust monster. Yeah, Hellion, he's looking for a new Lord of Rust to fill that power gap, you see. And those ghost wolves and Skymetal hawks. The two clans here that live in Scrapwall. They're howling for the honor. Two old gangs, bitter rivals. They've erupted into a turf war of sorts, trying to prove who's worthier. Well, Hellskarg, that troll bitch in the arena, she's opened the pits for a contest. Blood and steel for Hellion's eye. She says, any fighter who can challenge her, even wound her, earns the right to claim a Lord of Rust mantle. Yeah, I say, if you're looking to get close to Hellion, that might be your best shot. Just don't underestimate her. She's a survivor of the rebellion. And nothing's killed her yet. The hatchet, the man, he speaks up. He's sitting, leaning back in the chair, thumbing the edge of his hatchet blade. Kulgara herself, she's gone dark, no longer at the east side dig. That place has gone quiet, which in this cesspool here means something bad is cooking. I've intercepted a few shortwave bursts. She's been called to Hellion's inner sanctum. Whatever's going on, it's not the excavation. It's something more. Sevroth speaks up. The Red Ghost's tunnels, those cursed places beneath the place, those cursed places beneath the core of Scrapwall. Well, my scouts have been able to get into them, past those choker tunnels. But only one of them came back. Said she saw the Red Ghost herself. Said she heard it inside her head. If you're mad enough to go that way, you'd be best to speak with her first. She's in the other wing. Won't stop shaking. Won't stop drawing that same damn spiral. Oh, and one last thing. Your missing tiefling you had mentioned earlier. Someone matching his description was seen staggering out of the old Technic League ruins to the north. Bloodied. Hunted. Witnesses say he didn't make it far. was taken down by things, not people. Grafted horrors of flesh and steel. I don't know what Hellion's building up there, but it's not just machines, it's something worse. And the last one is a little note for Toy, because she had asked if they've seen a certain tiefling, and she gave a description. And so, with this briefing laid towards you, there seems to be many paths, many options, many branches to go down. Do you do or say or ask anything more of the Shadow Den rebels?
I think we should talk to the crazy one. See if she's got any insights about this red ghost, and if whether it's the same as the red ghost. Looking at Yrsimagor when he's saying that, that we met in the wreckage.
You met the red ghost in the wreckage? And you survived?
Well, of course. And you see Veris kind of stand up a little straighter. We are, of course, quite proficient in what we do.
Wow.
He does turn to Daeralei and he says, I agree with you. I think that we should address the thing that is closest. That being this woman who cannot stop drawing her spirals.
You said
You might notice by this point that Yrsimagor has not acknowledged anything since the mention of Hellskarg opening a tournament in the arena. And is just staring at the arena. I imagine sort of leaning over the table, clenching the edge of the table, and you almost see I imagine you see the backs of his hands and forearms, the hair get just a little thicker and darker. Like he hasn't gone full Ursine rage, but you can see that the beginnings of those bear claws forming. I don't know when. But I'm going to fight. If it's a chance to get closer to Hellion. And Colgara.
Labroth gives a smirk, nodding, and says, "That's Yrsimagor I know."
My presence in the arena will not go unnoticed. And then...
Well, then perhaps we should get all the information we can here while we're still relatively incognito.
I think in the surprise, as you say that, Veris, you see that tension sort of ease a little bit. He leans up and he just kind of taps the arena. And he says, yes. I won't rush in. I will wait till we know more. But I'm the only one that can take that path.
I actually do think that Veris looks pretty surprised at that statement, because I think he was imagining there would have to be some kind of fight to prevent Yrsimagor from just rushing into this arena. And so you see Veris kind of like, he looks a little taken aback. He's just like, oh, what? Yeah. Sure.
I wonder. I don't remember who all's in this room. What their capabilities were, but for some reason I don't have all of their names. Oh wait. I have Severoth written down. That's the only one I have,
Yeah.
I think. But
Sephiroth Slade is the one who first hired you way back in that little prequel episode that we did.
I wonder. And I'm going to indicate, maybe pull a piece of that red armor off of my pack and just kind of chuck it onto the table. Is there anyone here that could maybe rework this without destroying its capabilities?
Sephiroth looks at this and, well, you're in luck, Yrsimagor. There are 2 experts of technomancy. And an apprentice of one, she says as she looks to you, Veris.
I'm thinking
Whiskefist, Sori, or Bree herself could. What do you have in mind?
in its form as armor, it does me little to no good. I'm stronger than even this armor. But I don't have the capabilities that it has. I'm wondering if it can retain some, if not all of its properties, if the materials were reworked into some sort of shield.
A shield? I will... Oh, Whiskefist, what do you think? She says as she calls out to your dad. And he kind of I wasn't able to hear what are you speaking of? Whiskefist says, and he tries to, he groans and gets out from his chair and walks with a cane over to the table. Yrsimagor wants this turned into a shield. The scatter suit effect applied more in shield form. I think I could work something up like that, yes. It's been a long time since I've ever put my little paws upon a fully intact scatter suit, no less, and one with its own interference array. Oh, this is a bit of a holiday for me. Of course, Yrsimagor, I'll make something for you.
I'll unfasten the rest of the armor and take it off of my gear, giving him all of the pieces of it. If there's anybody that can do something with this, it's you old mouse.
I may be old in years, but, well, these years have many years of expertise behind them. And thus Whiskefist starts a project of making you a scatter shield.
I am going to remove it from my inventory now. I'm not going to lie. There's a part of me / Yrsimagor that wanted to immediately rush in and go, I'm going to the arena. But Yrsimagor is learning from his friends. Also, I've been playing enough of these kind of games lately in video game form to know to at least think somebody's got to be able to strip this down or rebuild it or give it the old college try anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, my Yrsimagor the Bear character in Oblivion is an armorer.
Amazing.
So, the arena waits. We talked to...
Yeah. Her name's Valusha. Don't push her too hard. She's not the same since. She's in the recovery wing.
What is her malady again?
She's in shock. She seems Well, she's scraped up. Her wounds are being tended to, but well, she's just not the same. She's been shaken. She keeps drawing that same damn spiral. I washed it off the first time, and she smacked over the lamp and with its oil drew it again. So I've let her have it. It gives her peace, it seems. You can speak with her. See if your account of your red ghost matches with her. Something puzzles me about. Something doesn't add up with you encountering the red ghost way out there in that wreckage.
Then we will talk to her. Where did Veris go?
Veris is probably halfway down the hallway towards the recovery room.
And with that, I think we'll cut to break. And when we return, we will speak with the shaken scout of Volusia.
All right. We'll see you on the other side.
And so you open the door to the recovery wing of the Shadow Den. Yrsimagor, this is a familiar place to you. This is where you woke up, tended to by the Shadow Den. Oh, so many years ago. But here, its occupant is someone else, someone that is not you. She is huddled at the head of the bed, in a fetal position, her knees brought up tight to her chest. She's wrapped around with a warm blanket, fleeced and like a rug around her. And you see dominating the center of this recovery room's floor, smeared in lantern oil by fingertip, is a massive spiral with many, many fractaling branching paths that weave back on themselves, drawn out on the floor. She does not say anything, nor acknowledge your presence as you enter, but you can tell that she knows you're there.
Does the spiral pattern on the floor produce any sense of recognition or I'm not going to say deja vu, but
nope, there's no deja vu, no recognition to the spiral.
Cool.
But the pattern, it seems, was drawn by obsessive, repetitive fingers. Do any of you speak?
Veris can.
Well, I didn't hear what you said. All I heard was, "Does anybody speak?" Sorry. Was that what you were asking? Was, "Do we speak?"
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were asking if we spoke a particular language, and it just cut off.
Does anyone speak? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
I'm immediately looking at my languages. I'm like, wait, what do we speak?
I know, that's what I thought too.
Sorry. Does anyone speak up upon entering this room? Does anyone talk to her? And if so, what do you say?
Yeah, I think Veris. What was her name again?
Volusia.
Yeah, Veris goes over and says, "Hello, Volusia." See if that has any.
She sniffs. Hi.
That is quite the drawing you have there.
It's not. It's not mine.
Whose is it?
It's its map. It's burned in my mind. It put it in me. It's burned behind my eyes. It's a map. It's a map it wants me to know.
A map? How do you know it's a map?
She gestures out with a trembling finger. That's where we went in. And that's where Merrick died. Well, he didn't die right away. It wants you to wander. It wants you to forget who you are.
Where is this?
It's in the depths. The tunnels that the Choker tribe live in. Their tunnels continue down, past the stone, past the mold. It's the Red Ghost's tunnels. They're different. The walls, they're slick. They breathe. They're covered in mucus. The air is filled with static. It's like skin stretched so tight, and it breathes. And the webs, these strands are not like spider webs. No, they pulse like they have a heart beating in their chest, as if waiting to snap down on you. And they cling to your mind. We got separated down there. Thought we heard something behind us, above us. And then the Red Ghost, she descended. No sound, no scream. Just, oh God, the impact, like metal hitting meat. I watched from the dark. I couldn't move. I couldn't look away. And she starts trembling with fear.
Who is it? You said it wants this map.
The Red Ghost.
Why would the Red Ghost want you to have a map of its tunnels?
I don't know. I don't know.
What does it want you to do?
I don't know. But that map, it tries to call to me. It tries to urge me into it. I'm terrified. I can't sleep. If I sleep, I see her in my dreams. I see her waiting above me, her face blood red. She moves silent, like a ghost.
How did you make it out?
I ran. As it killed Merrick, I ran. The map behind my eyes let me out. I killed him slowly. Her tail, it bloomed like a flower made of razors. And then it drove it right into his gut, into his mid-side. And then he lifted up, twitched. He didn't scream, he was just a puppet. But I saw in his eyes he was still alive and he could not move. And I ran. I left him. I left him behind. But even now, even here on the surface, I can still feel it. I can feel the static hum of those walls, the burning of my eyes.
You said she has a tail.
A tail, yes. Long, wicked. Like a spear.
This does not sound like the same red ghost that we encountered, Yrsimagor.
No.
I guess that would have been too easy. I know this is hard for you, and this must be terrifying, but can you describe her, what she looks like? Is there anything else about her besides this horrendous tail, this lethal weapon? Is there anything else about her?
It's a demon. A monster. Skin blood red. No eyes to see through. Long, vicious legs. Claws like knives. A long spear of a tail. She knows what you're thinking.
Oh.
He could move through the walls, through the air. It could move as if it were never there. It vanishes. And when it cut people down, when it cut the others down, it cut down Talon first. Just in the blink of an eye, he was just blood and strings of meat. But it took its time. It took its time with Merrick, and it let me live. I know it let me live.
Was it just the three of you?
She nods. It's the three of us. Just Sephiroth wanted us to find a way. If there's anything further in those, beyond where the chokers call their territory. And, well, we found it. Her lair. The Red Ghost's lair.
The good thing about monsters is they can be killed.
I don't know if anything can kill her.
We'll find a way. I'm gonna turn and make a kind of like a chirping whistle. Throw in a little pss, 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 calling for Donut.
And Donut will, in a few moments, you'll see a very cautious, like, Donut appear down the hall of the recovery wing.
I'm going to sort of pat my leg for him to come over. Or I can't remember.
She.
Been a while. For her to come over. And I'm going to say, Donut, this is Verusha. She is recovering as well. I would like you to stay with her, if she will have you. Provide her with comfort and protection. Verusha, this is Donut.
My sister, she had a pet bobcat. Pet's an odd word. I took a liking to her when I was young. Your Donut reminds me. Your Donut reminds me of her. And she'll like pat the top of the blanket, as any cat savvy person would do. And I think Donut's like, oh, a comfy spot to sit. And Donut will hop up and test out the blankets on the recovery bed.
I'm going to, again, in a move that's probably very uncharacteristic, that the others have not seen from Yrsimagor, I'm going to kneel down next to the bed and with one hand just sort of reach back and sort of scritch behind Donut's ear as I say to Verusha, you have told us your story. Reliving once again the things you saw and experienced. We will take it upon ourselves to deal with this threat. But ease your mind. You do not have to speak the words of the story again to anyone. I will take this story from you.
She nods, knowing that there's no talking you down, Yrsimagor. You are very famous amongst the members of the Shadow Den. She tried and got she half-heartedly tried to talk you down, saying, don't go down there, but she knows that it's fruitless to do so. But she nods in thanks to your taking up her mantle.
While we are
taking on her burden.
While we are here in Scrapwall. While these dangers persist, and while she recovers, I need you to take care of Donut.
I can do that. She seems like a good creature. I've not seen a cat with so many legs before. This isn't a Rumvarax. I've only heard stories.
Donut is on her way to making her own stories known. Soon. For now. The two of you will keep one another company. As much as you are able, remove your fears of that place from your mind. Know that we will deal with it.
She leans over and grabs the mug of water that is on the bedside table and takes a sip from it and nods to you as she does so. She seems a bit more calmed and relieved after telling you her story and your words of comfort and the creature that is at her feet on the bed.
I will just sort of pat her knee real quick, or real lightly, as I stand. And I will leave the room.
Do the other two follow? Right. The three? Go ahead.
Veris wants to take one last look at that map and just kind of put it that she's drawing and put it to memory, maybe even try while Yrsimagor is having this conversation with her, just like try and I know you said it's just a spiral, but like any way he can try and get it exactly.
I will try and make a replica of it for you all at some point, probably after this session. I'll post it to the Discord.
He wants to like try and get it as accurate as possible because it does look like it is a map, so yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Daeralei would have followed Yrsimagor out, just giving one last look to both the woman and the spiral map on the floor, and then follow him.
Were you listening to her description of the red ghost?
I was.
Sounded an awful lot like some kind of demonic scorpion. But given the things that we've seen, I think we can expect that whatever this red ghost is, and maybe all of the Lords of Rust, they are using these technologies found buried beneath Scrap Wall. I don't know much about this stuff. But what I do know is if they're using it, we need to find and use as much of it as we can. I might need to learn a thing or two about these guns.
You might be right.
I'm also realizing we won't be able to be successful, nor will I be able to keep my word to Verusha if we just go rushing in headlong to these dangers. It will be challenging, but I will restrain myself, and I will heed yours and Veris's and Toy's words.
I'm thinking maybe perhaps we should stay as close to Scrapwall for now as possible. Not venture out very far. Actually, before he says that, where did we know where she went to find the red ghost?
Sounds to me like the Warrens.
Yeah, below Scrapwall.
I could be wrong.
Yes. So the Choker Tunnels are where Veris and Yrsimagor had their prequel episode in. That was checking out the receiver array, which is in the southeast side of the core, this giant mound of dirt and scrap that dominates the center of Scrapwall. It is at the receiver array is the Choker Tunnels, which I will put here. Oh. And Choker Tunnels. Cool.
I wasn't far off. I knew the Warrens were
Yep.
somehow involved.
So that is where they discovered the entrance to the Red Ghost's lair, deep beyond the choker tunnels. There's the arena up here, which is where Kulgara is hosting a contest of champions to entitle a new Lord of Rust to replace Mayenda. Kulgara used to oversee the dig site, but has vanished from such place. Going into the core, it seems, is what they had said. Their scouts had told them.
Sorry, it was Hellskarg that was doing the arena.
Yes, Hellskarg.
Okay, because
yes.
you said Kilgara, and I went just now, so I wanted to be sure about that.
So yeah, Hellskarg is hosting the arena.
Kilgara is missing.
Kulgara is missing. Used to be stationed at the dig site. Has gone deep core, and then Toy's tiefling was spotted up here in the Technic League ruins.
So, and we know how many Lords of Rust there are.
There are 4 Lords of Rust that you know of, plus Hellion himself.
Kulgara,
well, you know 5. So you know 5. Sorry.
Right. Kulgara, the Red Ghost, Mayenda, Hellskarg, and Marrow.
Yes.
Marrow's the one we don't really know a whole lot about, other than that they're possibly undead necromancer, possibly tasked with building an undead army.
Well, I think it depends on then what we want to do first. Do we want to make a big splash? Go to the arena? Honestly, that might be the safest. Veris puts that in quotes.
I'm afraid of tipping our hand too soon, though. Like, if we go to the arena, there's no more hiding. If we could potentially take out the Red Ghost first, that's one less Lord of Rust when we do finally make the splash.
It's possible.
That is the one that we know where they are.
Well, we have a map at least. That I assume you took that down, Veris.
Yeah, Veris maps.
I guess I'll ask Veris this. Do you know how long it takes your father to work on projects?
How long does it take Veris's dad to work on projects?
I will say, meta speaking, if you do one expedition and then come back, it'll be ready for you.
You know, I think that it might take... I'm sure by the time we leave and by the time we come back, he should have something ready for us. Or you.
From a tactical standpoint, I would rather wait to go into either the arena or after the Red Ghost until I have this shield.
Maybe we should go into the ruins then. Get some more information.
Do any of us know what Toy wanted to know about this tiefling? Well, that's the only thing is we need to wait for Toy and figure out.
I think we might know that it's a friend or somebody close to them.
Yeah. Well, know, Toy was like, I'm looking for someone. And then when she came here, was like, have you seen anyone by the blah, blah, blah description? And they're like, we'll put an eye out for you. And then, so whomever it is important to Toy, whether that's for revenge reasons or for familial or friendly reasons. So it's up in the air.
As I'm looking at my quest menu here, I'm realizing there's an open quest that I want to go back and talk to Sephiroth and just see if she has some information for me.
Okay.
Since we're still kind of, we need to rest up more before we do anything. So I would like to go talk to Sephiroth and say, I wonder if you've ever heard the name Doombringer Osmond Zane?
She thinks for a moment. That's the current leader of the Technic League, is that not?
I believe so.
Well, the Technic League is more up Bree's alley. If you want more information, you best speak with her.
I will. Is Bree still here?
She's off in her little office, tinkering with the inhibitor facet. Well, yes, in the shadow. She's in the Shadow Den, yes.
I'll find. This part feels very Baldur's Gate 3 as I'm looking.
Yeah.
Go talk to this person. All right, let me go.
Yeah.
Let me cycle through here. I'm gonna.
This is definitely a hub zone for sure.
Yeah.
This is your hub. This is your adventure hub for sure.
I'm gonna knock on the office to get her attention.
I'm busy, she says through the door.
Your hands are busy. Your ears can still hear.
You hear the sound of a chair creaking against the wood, and the door unlatches, and she opens and she leans against the open door. Yrsimagor, what do you like? She says a bit. She seems a bit like miffed, and not like angry at you, but more like you get the sense that you've interrupted her train of thought.
Yeah, I think Yrsimagor doesn't care about that. I just want to ask you a question. Severoth said you may know. Be able to tell me something about Doombringer Osmond Zane.
Oh, I know that man quite well.
Well, I've made an enemy of him.
As have I. She smirks.
Did he tell you to meet him at the summit of the Silver Mount?
No. She seems perplexed by this.
On our way here,
never.
On our way here, we had a run-in with the Technic League. They have one of our people.
They have their fingers everywhere here in Numeria.
Well, they have one of our people. It takes a lot for me to admit this, but Osmond Zane was outside of my ability to conquer in that confrontation.
I wouldn't beat yourself up too much about that. That is a very powerful man, augmented by magics and sciences, even beyond some of my comprehension.
That would explain why there was a red skull and crossbones above his head.
You saw that too.
I'm just trying to learn what I can. It seems clear to me that our paths are destined to cross. I'd like to know as much as I can about this person.
Well, Osmond Zane, he is the head of the Technic League. A recent installation when his predecessor so conveniently went the way of the dodo.
The hell is a dodo?
Sorry, it's an inside joke. When his predecessor was slain on an expedition into Silver Mount, Osmond Zane was the only survivor of that expedition, and, well, he took the mantle of leader of the Technic League. Things have been, well, there's no sense in keeping mysteries. I used to be part of the Technic League. Their fascination with Skymetal intrigued me. And my colleague, one I think you would know quite well, Mr. Conir Bane.
Yes.
But the two of us, well, we didn't like some of the antics that the Technic League would do. They absconded, deserted, and we made ourselves an enemy of them. That is why I am here, hidden away in Scrapwall, a place the Technic League shall probably not touch for many, many years. Scrapwall fought them off 50 years ago. Sorry, it was 30 years ago. Scrapwall fought them off 30 years ago. All on their own. Disparate clans of the Numerian people, the rat folk, even the ogres and trolls of this place. The harpies, too. The gargoyles of the spires. They all joined forces and battled back. And, well, took Scrapwall back as their home and became better for it. And so this place is a blemish on the Technic League's records, on their reputation. I chose to hide here, and, well, Conir chose to hide in Torch.
Osmond Zane was the only survivor of the Silvermount expedition. Why would he want that to be the place for me to meet him?
I don't know. This whole chaos of the new leadership. That is how Conir and I were able to make our escape.
What was the Silvermount expedition?
An expedition like any other, though a bit foolhardy, I'd say. Silvermount is a deadly, deadly dungeon. So the Technic League thought to tame it, to go farther than any had gone before. So they sent their best. Osmond among them. The Technic League, of course, you know, are interested in Skymetal artifacts. They seek to understand and reverse engineer to harness their power. I, too, have a bit of that predilection, but I don't like to align myself with their moral value.
Well,
The unfortunate part about the Technic League as well, they came from overseas. They thought the native people of Numeria were not using the resources of this land adequately and declared it a bit of a terra nulla, if you will. And so they seized control of the palace, the government. Colonizers, in truth, they are. And she's just like rambling on, yeah.
I think Yrsimagor probably says the word colonizers at the same time. Because I was literally just about to say colonizers, like an epithet. Oh, all the more reason to dislike them. I do worry that Osmond Zane may have found something at Silvermount.
Oh, without a doubt, I have that suspicion too.
Well,
I've heard he's not the same since he went in.
seems to be a lot of that going on around here, with Skymetal's involved.
Fascinating, isn't it? What power was held by those ancients? I've been looking at the inhibitor facet. And she points and gestures to her desk. She seemed to be like pretty disarmed by this conversation. I think this is the real thing. I'm almost certain of it.
Well, we're going to need to find as much of this technology and use it to our own advantage against them as much as we can.
And she gives a nod, a bit of a proud nod, proud smile and a nod. And, well, that is why I am here, me and Whiskafus.
Well,
Combined, we have, well, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think that we have the most competent expertise amongst the entire town of Scrapwall when it comes to Skymetal and its artifacts.
I hope your skills live up to your boasting, because we're going to put it to the test.
I rise to the challenge. Is there anything else you needed, Yrsimagor?
No, that is all. Thank you.
Stay safe out there. I
Okay.
know you're tough as nails, but we need you. Don't go killing yourself.
I kind of nod towards the array of tools and whatever else around this technological device and just look at her and say, stay safe in here. We need you too. And then I will walk away.
And she like nods and she's like, oh shit, as like it begins like sparking because she's like plugged it into something, and she dashes over to unplug it and to desolder it or whatever.
You can't leave your air fryer plugged in unattended.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the most intelligence gathering Yrsimagor's ever done. Seriously, as we were looking at going over everything, I've been taking notes about all of basically anybody that's on my hit list. And I saw that Osmond Zane, and I'm like, we've got all these people around here. I've got to find some more information out. Yrsimagor's going to go find somewhere to relax and rest because he's used up all of his words for today.
Perfect. While this was happening, the other two of you, Veris and Daeralei, was there anything else that you wanted to get done here at the Shadow Den? Any people you wanted to speak to, or information to gather, or Baldur's Gate 3 NPCs that you wanted to schmooze up?
I don't think so. No, not for Veris.
I think Daeralei would have found while Yrsimagor is often talking, we're kind of just waiting, and maybe Veris is putting the final touches on the spiral map or whatever. Daeralei is just going to find some type of corner that's quiet and away from prying eyes, and maybe just kind of study that device that gave him such a headache.
The one that's in your in your hand one, or the one in your noggin?
No, not the one in my noggin. I'm not going to pull that out.
Okay.
The one in my hand. I want to learn more about it.
All right. So I would say that the three of you can take a long rest here, recuperating whatever you need, refreshing your supplies, raiding the larder even for to refill your bellies and whatnot. And if you want to investigate any more of these strange artifacts, you can give me intelligence rolls, which is what you're wanting to do, Daeralei.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think every time I look at this thing, my eyes water as the pain shoots or something, because that was a 6.
Yeah, you look upon this thing
can't
and
study it.
you are reminded of this droning sound, this drilling sound, a sound that rattles the back of your teeth. It is a fragment of a memory that haunts you to this day.
So like eating tinfoil.
Like eating tinfoil with your head trapped in a vice.
Yeah. I think I put it away because that's too painful. What I would like to do after that though is we have this pretty pink bricks of something.
Oh, that's right.
Strange pink plaster.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I'd like to maybe
Give me
look at it. Yeah.
Give me an intelligence roll for that
This one I'm not hiding so much, and so if somebody happens to see me looking at it, that I would be happy with that, because maybe they can help me. That's an 11. I'm not so smart. This stuff is beyond me.
It is tacky to the touch, but not sticky. It can break apart into smaller chunks. Kind of has like a Play-Doh texture, but more dense than Play-Doh. And when you smell it, give me a second. It has like a really distinct odor. It has like a kind of an oily odor to it.
I think
It smells like a mix of like oil and like the smell of those Numerian fluids that leak from Skymetal artifacts. Kind of a tinge to it. If you were a modern day human, you would recognize the smell as kind of like motor oil. There's a very faint motor oil smell to it.
I think I would at some point, maybe when she comes out for a meal or whatever, I would show Bree one of these bricks and ask if she knows anything about what they are.
And she barely even gives a glance at it. Yeah, that's silex. It's a detonative putty. Explosions. It explodes.
Big bada booms is what you're saying. How?
And let me look up how.
You said Silas?
Silex. Cylex. Yeah. So you have 3 bricks. 3 bricks of silex. She says, well, on how to explode it, you'd have to find a way to generate some kind of ether wavic signal to interact with it.
Oh, a what?
An ether wavic signal, well, a transmission through the ether, like a message.
I will hold up this handheld device that has an antenna.
Hold on. My apologies. I'm getting a low system warning that's affecting the stream, and I'm trying to close applications, and I tried to close something, and
You pull out the detonator, it's like this, and we get to break. Something exactly like that, yes. You'd have to, of course, synchronize their signals, but absolutely. If you want, I could do that for you if you wish.
It won't set it off before I want it to, right?
When they are connected and conjoined, she reaches over to like grab the transmitter from you. So this button here primes the signal, and this one here sends it. If you click the send button before the prime, nothing will happen. That is I imagine some kind of safety mechanism for it jostling about in your pocket. And you'll notice too how there's a clasp here that locks the primer in position. And she like flicks the switch down, and like no matter how hard you try, like the prime button doesn't even like depress at all. So flick this switch, press this. Your silex will explode within a moment. With that 3 bricks of putty there.
All of the silex will explode. Can
whichever ones are harmonized. I can only harmonize to one signal. So
How does one
I could
harmonize?
Well, you need a way to get into the systems of this transmitter. I use magic, of course, to do this, to move about with transmutation magic, the strange arcane workings of the Skymetal artifact to move about and reassess and reharmonize. I'm trying to find how big the explosion is.
I guess what I'm asking is I would like to be able to maybe like detonate one at a time so that I could use them in different
Now,
times.
something like that I could do in the moment. But I wouldn't say in the field with a know-how like yours, you'd be able to get it done.
Just raise my eyebrow.
I could attune one of these bricks for you, or two, or even all three. But I'm afraid unless I'm there with you, I cannot attune them to you in the field.
So it's either tune them now or not to use them. Do you know how big of an explosion that this thing will make?
One of these bricks, well, 40 feet radius of massive concussive force. It can be heard for, well, miles around, but it's very controlled explosions, this Silex does. And the way it is, and she like grabs the brick and like pulls it apart, and you can break it apart as you wish, and it'll explode in fragmented form if you wish. Allows for more controlled explosions too.
How about you just harmonize the one brick then?
Okay, I can do that. And she'll grab the brick and grab the transmitter, and you'll have to pardon me a moment then. And she goes back to her chamber, and she doesn't even close the door. She like grabs a scroll off of a shelf and unveils it and uses technomancy. And she speaks out these spells adapted for the use of interacting with technological artifacts. As you hear hums and static and the groaning of and twisting of the Skymetal inside the transmitter, and then the scroll is depleted, and she returns them to you. There, they are conjoined.
Thank you. And I think at this point, Daeralei is actually looking a little sheepish, maybe. And then they'll pull out these two strange devices that are wrapped and bound tightly. Would you know what these are?
That's a good question. Where did you find these?
They were found at the same time that we found the bricks of Silex and the transmitter for it. So back at the other place.
Okay, I think I know what these are. So she will grab one of them.
I don't let her grab them. I hand it nicely.
She takes one of them from you, and she kind of smiles and says, "Watch this," and she like flips open a small little like plastic panel on the inside of it, holds down with two fingers until it like glows a soft yellow light. She then pulls a strap down and tosses it out into the middle of the room, and there, within moments, a boat made of a strange rubbery material appears before you.
A boat.
A boat. A small raft.
Can you put it back now, or is it stuck in this shape?
it can deflate just as easy. She goes over and lifts it up as if it were made of like air, and like holds down the same panel, and then the light turns from a yellow to a dark orange, and all of a sudden the sound is like a rumble as it like starts to roll in on itself. And as it rolls in on itself, she picks it up like a ball and wraps that strap back around. Here you go.
And so they're both the same.
They're both the same, yeah.
So we have 2 boats. All right.
2 inflatable boats.
Wahoo! Awesome.
I don't know about anybody else, but discovering what the loot you found is almost as exciting as finding loot.
Right. Yep. We have 2 boats, guys.
Especially when your DM reflavors things or stylizes them so you can't immediately know what a thing is. I love it.
That's amazing.
And so with that then, with your errands in the Shadow Den done, and a new day dawns upon the town of Scrapwall, you have at your fingertips many, many uncompleted quest markers. And so I imagine you'll reconvene to hash out your plans now that it's a new day.
I think part of our dilemma is we really need to confer with Toy because we do want to pursue the Technic League situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's we're kind of in a hold.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. I mean, it also this is pretty good timing for when the session would naturally come to an end. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll end here with basically waiting from Toy to come back from whatever shopping trip she's on in one of the markets to reconvene, and you can talk about your plans now and your 4 looming Lords of Rust and that mysterious tiefling found in the north in the Technic League ruins.
I don't know all the details of how Sara built Toy, but given that this is not the first time Toy has just disappeared to go shopping, I think Toy is definitely on the neurodivergent spectrum somewhere.
Ooh, shiny.
We need to have a conversation about when it's okay to leave to go shopping. It always seems to be that we're in a cave. At least the battle was over this time.
She was like, all right, now the battle's gone, I gotta bounce. There's this sale I saw on the way here. Said, buy 2 for 1, till sundown, and it's getting late.
This was a fun session. Lots of good information, lore, and getting some more bullet points on those quests. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I will say this is the back half of chapter 2.
I was going to ask you that if you had a sense of where we were within the chapter.
Yeah, I had predicted about 20 sessions per chapter so far, and being on the 10 session mark, I'm like, okay, well, starting to ramp into things here.
Yep. I also I think we've had enough experiences, and kind of coinciding with the level up, we're kind of in a new phase of a new tier, I guess, if you go by the classic 5e stuff.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I've planned out the 4 chapters to be the 4 different tiers.
It feels very much like genuine that this is where, at least for me, it felt natural that Yrsimagor is starting to pay attention to his friends and learn a few things and not be so quick to rush in, because I see it that Yrsimagor is learning that where before he doesn't care about his own safety. He's going to do what he has to do to try to protect his friends. But now he's starting to realize, well, if he gets himself killed, the thing he's trying to protect them from is just going to get him anyway. So that's kind of my view going into it.
So he's finally learned that you're more useful to us alive than you are dead.
Basically.
Yes. Big steps.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mything Gears, for that sub that got us the extra relic and the 74 months. Thank you to everybody hanging out in chat, whether you are participating in the conversation or you're lurking silently in the background or maybe watching on the VOD later. We appreciate you. And huge thank you to Vi, our GM, for putting together yet another awesome session. And you've got to slip that in there, get another domain relic. Dice on Ice, right there, dead on the 6-year mark, with 72 months. And you were there in the beginning, the very, very beginning with the first ever stream. So thank you, Vi, for everything you put into these games and sessions, and thank you just to everybody to around this virtual table, to Vi, Kaeryn, M, and though she wasn't with us tonight, she was definitely with us in spirit, Sara, without whom this would have just been Vi talking to herself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this game the same way we end every game, and you can say it with me if you want.
Lords of Rust.